Welcome back to Gerodynamics. Okay, so another political video, more of a response type video. This is a follow up to my last video, which was the who is more like a dictator, Biden or Trump. There were some comments in there. I do want to do a little bit more long form response to the comments than the replies that I gave, but I'll go over the replies as well. And just kind of talking about YouTube comments in general. I'm still relatively new to the comments thing. I've been doing videos for a couple of years, but they're low view count, low interaction, just kind of just doing my thing for fun, making videos opening magic products. So getting some comments here and there. I haven't really noticed this as much before, but I do find that I'm not getting all the notifications. So someone could leave a comment and I don't get a notification for it, and it's sometimes I can't even see it. I can see there's more comments there. But I can't see the actual comment. I switch the view of the comments from what is it? It's to newest, but what are the options again? Let me see. Top comments to newest comments helps, but sometimes even then I can't see all of the comments. So just keep that in mind. I'm new to all of this, but hopefully I get to a chance to respond to every comment that needs a reply. And if I don't see your comment, I apologize. That's just kind of what I'm running into with this, and any advice on that would be great. Not quite sure how that works. Okay, so the first comment that I got was from an individual. It's using, I think, a bunch of initials, so I'm not quite sure what their name means, but that's okay. And they said, as far as being able to do actually, you know what? I'm almost sure the other one came in first. So let's read the other one first, because he or she, probably he, but they left a comment that I couldn't see. So the one that I was about to see was the first one I responded to, but then later I realized there was another comment from them that I believe was the first one. So let's start there. Biden literally has no ambitions for himself. His only ambitions seem to be to serve the aims of the GOP. That's right, not the Dems, certain corporate sectors, and Israel. Trump's only ambitions are a benefit to himself, to get his own way, and to injure others. Of the two of them, Trump is the dictator. Biden has no in his own way in mind, or know his own way in mind to even pursue. He has always been a tool for others. When he campaigns, he is selling himself to the same donors that the GOP has. He is just trying to convince them that he can do a better job of giving them what they want. Okay. Where to even start? I don't think this person understands what the conversation is in general. It's comparing the actions of each president and to see whose actions more reflect what a dictator is, what a dictator would do. I don't think either president is a dictator, by the way, just to clarify. But I do think that the actions that have happened, or that Biden has actually done himself, and specifically even the actions that he is allowing to happen, either through his political party or through his administration, or just kind of allowing it to happen when he could step in and prevent it from happening. I think his actions have, more resemblance to what a dictator would do. I don't believe that there's any examples of Trump doing these same type of things, and I'd be open to hear that. But that's not what he's talking about. He thinks that a dictator is someone who only looks out for themselves. That's not what a dictator is. But let's take a look at what he's actually saying, rather than what the conversation is supposed to be, because they don't seem to understand what the concept of the conversation is. So, but let's take a look at it. Biden literally has no ambitions for himself. Biden is literally a career politician. his ambitions have been wealth and power. He has made himself a very wealthy man by being a career politician, a supposed civil servant, servant of the people. No, he has made himself very wealthy, and we'll get to that. He's made himself very wealthy. He has done everything he can to stay in power. When he went through his career in Congress, he eventually left Congress to become the vice president under Obama. He wanted to be president. He ran multiple times to be president. So his ambitions were to become president. That's his ambition. He wasn't able to do it. The first time, I believe he had to quit in humiliation because they caught him plagiarizing his speeches. That's what I believe happened the first time he ran. And then the second time he just lost. The second time where he ended up becoming Obama's vice president, he lost because he didn't have the support. It ended up being more of a race between Hillary and Obama, and Biden dropped out of the race and eventually was selected as the vice president. Why was he selected as vice president? Because he's kind of incompetent. So that's, Obama really wanted to make it so that people didn't want to have any reason to get rid of him. That seems to be a pattern in the Democratic Party, which is causing the president and the vice president to be progressively become more like idiocracy. It just seems to be what's happening. But anyway, so Biden was selected as the vice president, won the vice presidency because Obama was such a popular candidate, and he became the vice president. Then, after after his 8 years as vice president, he could have ran for president. He didn't. He was dealing with, I believe, the death of his son. I think that's why he ended up not running. Let Hillary run. It was her time as it was. I think that's probably more why he didn't run, because I think that he probably would have ran anyways. Even though he was dealing with the death of his son, he could have used that to his advantage in the campaign trail. But really, the reason he didn't run is because he wasn't running against Hillary. That's all there is to it. And then when they were talking about, and you know this because when they were talking about having to remove Hillary from the campaign because of her health, they definitely were talking about bringing him in to replace her. So there it is. All right. So he has ambition because after Hillary lost, Trump ends up winning the presidency, becomes president for 4 years, and then Biden immediately decides he's the next in line because Hillary's just going to lose again. She's an incredibly unpopular politician. And so Biden runs for president, gets the nomination because, again, the Democratic Party stole it from Bernie. And so Biden becomes the president. He becomes the nominee and then president because he won the 2020 election. And so, Biden has a lot of ambition, okay? A lot of ambition. Wealth. I do say that he became a wealthy man. Further comment from this individual disagrees with that. We'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so that's his ambition. He does work for donors. That's true. Most politicians do. Whether you say he works for GOP donors or Dem donors, donors are donors. I don't know how much you look into this, but a lot of people, a lot of corporations, and a lot of individuals donate to both. Even Trump did this. When Trump was a businessman, he would donate to Democratic politicians all the time because he lived and worked in New York City, and it would, endear him to the politicians in New York if he donated to their campaigns, right? Lots of individuals and lots of corporations donate to both Democrat and Republican candidates. It's just the way it works. It's just the way it is. So yes, Biden is working for GOP donors. He's also working for Democratic donors. Don't get that twisted. Trump's only ambitions are to benefit himself. So I am 100% not a Trump apologist. Again, reiterate, Never voted for him. Tomorrow's the tomorrow's the presidential primary in California. Not voting for him tomorrow. Um, the only time that I may ever in my life vote for him, and I'm leaning towards it, is in the general election this year, in November. I am not a Trump apologist. I am not a Trump supporter. I'm not a MAGA, whatever you want to call us. I am a libertarian. And so, do I see a difference between Trump and Biden? Yes. Do I think they are very similar to each other in a lot of ways? I say that too. But I also see that I had a lot more freedom, and I wasn't as concerned about my freedoms under Trump than I am Biden. Why? Because Biden acts like a dictator sometimes. Okay, so uh, Trump's only ambitions are to benefit himself. I wouldn't say that because he lost a lot of money while he was president. He could have earned a lot more money by not running for president. So to say his only ambitions are for himself, no, he probably would have been better off just not running at all, right? No, that was more of like, I would say probably in like an ego trip. He wanted to see if he could. Probably didn't think he was going to win, but he did. And so we're looking at what happened after he became president, right? Did he do things in his own self-interest? Probably some, but was that his only? No, because he pushed for things that made him not as popular, and some things that probably hurt some of his businesses. So to say his only ambitions are his only ambition is himself is not true. Um, but okay, so let's see. What's the rest of this say? To injure others. I don't know that he never injured me, so I don't know how his goal is to injure other people. My dog's back. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Bruce. He always wonders why I talk to myself. So yes, Bruce, I'm talking to myself. All right, you can hang around for a little while. So his goal is not to injure people. I've never seen that about him. He does want to, as he says, make America better, whether you agree that he's doing that or not. But can you give me an example that his specific goal was to injure somebody? I don't know of those. So, yeah. All right, so let's see here. Of the two, Trump is the dictator. You still haven't pointed to a single incident, single aspect of his presidency that was dictatorial. I have pointed to many aspects of Biden's presidency that were dictatorial, that were more like a dictator. Again, he's not a dictator. He will leave office if he loses, and he will leave office. Say he wins and he's president for another 4 years, he'll leave office at the end of that 4 years if he survives that long. He is he's not a dictator, but his actions are more like a dictator. And I've given plenty of examples of why I believe that. Have you given any examples? No, you've just said he's a selfish fool, right? He's a selfish idiot. We'll get to the idiot part because that's in your other comment. Um, so of the two, Trump is the dictator. Biden has no in his own way. No, he does. He does. He has a lot of goals. He's covering up a lot of the things he's done in his past. He is trying to advance a certain narrative. His handlers are definitely trying to advance certain narratives. I agree. He has handlers. But his own way. He's been a career politician since he was a young man. It has not always been the case where he has been managed by handlers, and you can see because his positions have changed a lot. All right, so he does have his own way. He has always been a tool for others. I don't know about that. Is he a tool for others right now? In large part, but this is also still his plan, his goals, his wife's goals, and they have a path that they want to lead the country down. When he campaigns, he is selling himself to the same donors that the GOP has. They all are. all of the politicians sell themselves to Dem donors and GOP donors. There's not a single one that doesn't, even the ones that I like. That's just the truth. Um, so if you're trying to say that he has no Dem donors, though, you're, as you say, you're not paying attention. All right. He is trying to convince. He is just trying to convince them that he can do a better job of giving them what they want. That's what all politicians do. Again, none of this has anything to do with his dictatorial actions, which I've pointed to many times. And again, you have not pointed to Trump's dictatorial actions. Okay, let's go, rather than to go to my response and then your response, let's go to your other comment. As far as being able to do the job, I disagree. Trump could never do the job. He does not know how, and he can't learn. He had the job for 4 years and never learned how to do it. He avoided the actual job of being president. He was like a freeloading guest in the White House. If you didn't see that, you weren't paying attention. Unlike Trump, Biden understands what the job is, and he does know how to actually do it. I agree that he is cognitively diminished. I'm glad you agreed to that, at least. But Trump is also cognitively diminished, as badly as Biden. He that's a stretch, an extreme partisan stretch. And I think even worse. Oh, yes, worse. If you are not seeing that, again, you aren't paying attention. So, hey, if you're just going to insult rather than, give substantial replies, what's the point? But whatever. All right, I'm not paying attention. That's why I'm here, right? Because I'm not paying attention. Okay, let's see. Let's see what else he said. Unlike Trump, Biden understands. Oh, wait. Both candidates are dismal. But do not be fooled by Trump's exuberance into thinking that he does not have dementia. Everything he says is something he is making up on the spot. He has no idea what is going on, what he is doing, or what he is supposed to be doing. Trump does not have a lifetime of experience as a member of the government, so he has no experience to draw on. Whatever he could have learned while he was president, he definitely did not learn. Biden does have a lifetime of having to actually understand how the government works and what the roles are. So you went on this random tangent where you ranted and got upset about whatever I said in the video. To the point where you're trying to pretend like I don't pay attention to what's going on. I guess I have dementia too, apparently. So this is just a rant, basically. But let's go through it. Let's go through, before I go into my reply, let me just kind of go with yours bit by bit. As far as being able to do the job, I disagree. Well, that's nice of you. Trump could never do the job. I mean, he did for 4 years. He does not know how. I mean, he did for 4 years, and he can't learn. He didn't need to. He did it for 4 years. He had the job for 4 years. Yes, exactly. He had the job for 4 years and never learned how to do it. He didn't need to learn how to do it. He was already doing it at the beginning, did it for 4 years. He avoided the actual job of being president. Not once. He probably did it too much. He couldn't avoid the, tweeting. He couldn't avoid putting his foot in his mouth and just talking too much. I agree, he talks too much. But he was always doing his job, even at 2 a.m. This man never stopped. Okay, to pretend he didn't do a job for 4 years that he did for 4 years is just silly. So you think because let's see here, he avoided doing the actual job of being president. So what has Biden done that he's doing the job so much more, right? Biden avoids speeches as much as possible, avoids going out in public. When he does, he looks like he's going to fall over and die. He doesn't go and have these dialogues with these foreign nations that we're having conflicts with. He just threatens them with like war. He is a very war hungry president, by the way. He doesn't have conversations with our enemies like Trump did. Trump would always go over and negotiate with our enemies to try to get to keep the world peaceful. Unlike Biden, who seems to desperately want World War III, another kind of dictator type of thing, loving the war. Um, so how is Trump not doing the job, but Biden is doing the job? Yeah, okay. Seems like you're not paying attention though. All right, let's see here. He was like a freeloading guest in the White House. If you didn't see that, you weren't paying attention. No, I was paying attention. I was watching his actions. I've mentioned many, many things that Trump has done. So no, I was paying attention. Um, he wasn't my favorite president either, but to say he wasn't doing the job when we had 8 years 4 years, 8 years of Obama and Biden, 4 years of Trump, three because COVID was the fourth year, and then 4 years of Biden. And so we had 8 years of things not being that great, 3 years of things getting better under Trump. COVID happened, and then Biden has taken over, and nothing has gotten better. In fact, everything has gotten worse. I think that Trump, while he doesn't get 100% credit for anything, right, because presidents don't get 100% credit for things going good or bad, he was the man in charge while things got better. So, yeah, yeah, I think I was paying attention. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you were just blinded by the hate. All right, so let's see the rest of this. Unlike Trump, Biden understands what the job is. Biden doesn't understand much of anything right now. He's not doing so well. But I agree. He was a career politician. Yep, he did the government thing a long time. He was making his life based on the taxpayer money his almost his whole life. I get it. I agree. Yep, career politician, knows how to be a career politician. Got it. And yeah, he's running things like a career politician who's let the power get to his head. Right? He keeps getting the power. He keeps wanting more power and more ambition for more power, more ambition for more wealth, and that's all he knows because he's a career politician. So yeah, that's not a good thing. All right, so let's see here. He understands what the job is, and he does know how to actually do it. He knows how to do it, and he knows how to allow things to be done that are very unconstitutional. He knows they're unconstitutional. He acts like a dictator. I agree that he is cognitively diminished. Of course he is. But Trump is also cognitively diminished. Trump is very old, right? So he is going to have some issues as well. But to try to compare Trump and Biden, you can put them side by side. In fact, maybe we will get them side by side. Maybe we'll get the debate. Biden's probably going to try to get out of that, but maybe we will, right? You put them side by side and there's no comparison. Trump's going to run circles around Biden. Biden can barely hobble around. And to try to say that they're the same, no, not even close. Not even close. I really, really think that Biden is passing before our eyes. It's not even the same thing. And there's plenty of video evidence of this that I've witnessed myself. I've observed it myself because I'm paying attention. And I don't just fall over on bicycles when I ride them. Okay, so let's see here. As badly, and I think even worse. You're not seeing it again because you're not paying attention. No, definitely paying attention, but maybe you need to start doing a little bit more of that. Yep. Okay. Both candidates are dismal, but do not be fooled by Trump's exuberance into thinking that he does not have dementia. He doesn't have dementia. Just doesn't. There's zero evidence that he has dementia. Biden, on the other hand, Seen plenty of doctors talk about it, saying that, yeah, it's looking pretty bad. All right. Everything he says is something he is making up on the spot. Thanks for contradicting yourself, because if you can make up stuff on the spot, you probably don't have dementia. If you just mumble and ramble like Biden does, you might have dementia. If you make up things that are coherent, most of the time, I get it. Sometimes Trump is a little bit iffy, but it's not like Biden, and you know it. Um, he has no idea what is going on. Disagree. He does seem to know what's going on. He knows where he is. He knows who the leaders are that he's talked to. That's for darn sure, unlike Biden. Or what he is supposed to be doing. No, he's definitely in charge of all that. No one's telling him what to do. Can you point to who? Because no one's telling him what to do. Biden, on the other hand, you've agreed he's doing what he's told to do. Everything okay. Trump does not have a lifetime of experience as a member of the government, which is a good thing. It just is. Having a lifetime of experience as a government official, as a politician, is not a positive. And spinning it makes you not understand that that's part of what makes him dictatorial. He is a career politician who wants to hold on to power. All right. He has no experience to draw on. That's not true. Trump had a lot of experience in many different aspects of his life, doing many different things that he is drawn upon. And I don't think that a president or a politician needs to be a career politician to be good at their job. And Trump was pretty good at his job. Definitely some things I would have improved, but way better than Biden, and not dictatorial. All right. And he did not learn. He didn't need to. Biden does have that lifetime of having to actually understand how the government works and what the roles are. Yeah, he's been a career politician. He knows how to be a career politician. And the only reason that he hasn't been, that he's able to keep going is because of his handlers and because he keeps reverting back to his politician mode, because that's where his brain lets him go, because that's what he's been doing his entire life. But he's not well, and you know he's not well. All right. So, let's go ahead and go to my replies. We'll start with my reply to this one because that was my first reply. I appreciate the lengthy comment, which I did. I appreciate when people comment. You know, later on in your comments were, you know, a little bit disrespectful, but for the most part, you did a pretty good job of not just resorting to insults until later, of course. And I do appreciate the comments. I love the back and forth. And if you actually had any respect for my opinion, and, you know, like I have respect for yours, then, you know, we could have a decent conversation. I may make a video in response to it. That's what I'm doing now. However, in brief, while not everything can be attributed to Trump, you really only have to look at the 8 years before him, the 4 years since, to see that he can definitely do the job, and successfully. And I've gone into that already. That's true. Trump's 3 years prior to COVID were better than both the 8 years before him and the 4 years after him. And that's not even really up for debate. I mean, everything's up for debate, but it is what it is. The evidence is there that we had a better life experience. We had more peace. Things were more affordable. Things were better under Trump. They just were. And if you disagree, that's fine. That's fine. And is it debatable? Of course it's debatable. But everything's debatable. But you're wrong. All right. So, let's see here. He had 3 years of strong improvement, and then COVID hit, but before and after him were definitely weaker across the board. Yep. Biden is a career politician who has led of not just the decline of our nation, but really the world, the whole world. Yeah, the whole world. And I mean, you have to see that. Like while Trump was president, he led, he he did drawdowns of current occupations that were happening, current not wars per se, but he the different conflicts that were going around. He started to bring those down. He didn't start any new ones. He got other countries to start discussing with each other about peaceful resolutions to their conflicts. Um, and honestly, you really can't argue with the fact that, again, you can argue with it, but you're wrong, that things were much more peaceful during Trump's 3 years than they were for Obama's 8 and Biden's 4. It's just the way it is. That's the truth. Um, and so, we had a better experience while Trump was president, and the world is suffering under Biden. It just is. The world is suffering. We're in the worst place. World War III is possible. Lots of conflicts going on. We definitely have more of a risk of having terrorism actions take place within our borders. There's a lot of issues. Not to mention what this whole conversation was supposed to be about. All of the things that Biden has done that were outside the realm of the Constitution, that were showing that he is more like a dictator than Trump. All right, let me go to my reply to the other comment. I said, I really don't understand how you think a career politician who has used his position to become incredibly wealthy and is doing everything he can to keep power, including acting like a dictator, has no ambitions for himself. We only see dictator-like actions happening under Biden, not Trump. You have still yet to point to an actual action that Trump had that made him more dictator-like. The only thing you've said is that his only ambitions were himself. But one, that doesn't make him a dictator. Two, I mean, it's just not true. But even if it were true, that's not an action that he took that was a dictator like. So if you can point to some, I'd like to hear them. That'd be great. Maybe discuss what the video was talking about. Uh, so yeah, so there we are. We have a situation where Biden has gone through numerous actions where he's acted like a dictator. Trump has not. So Biden is more like a dictator than Trump. That's my position, and I hold to it. All right. So let's see here. You responded by Biden is not incredibly wealthy, for one thing. His tax information is all public, so you can check it. As far as doing everything he can to keep himself in power, the truth is he is doing the bare minimum. And I doubt it's going to be enough. It's like Biden and the Dems are just sitting on the train tracks, just waiting to get run over. Their only move is to keep giving in, and that's not going to save them. So while we both agree that Trump is going to most likely win the election, that doesn't mean that Biden's not doing everything within his power to keep his power, as he has done his entire career politician life, which is something we've both discussed and both agreed to. If the man has been a career politician his entire life, then he definitely does everything he can to keep his power. He has been trying to stay in power for his whole life. You agree to this. So to try to pretend now like he hasn't done that is really just silly. Come on now. As far as winning this election, yeah, he's probably going to lose because he has had a terrible presidency. That doesn't mean he's not trying. They're doing everything in their power to make sure that Trump cannot run, and doing everything in their power to steal the election before the election even happens again. So This is what we're dealing with. We are dealing with Biden acting like a dictator and allowing these actions, because a lot of them are not his direct actions, right? But he is the leader of the Democratic Party. He is the leader of the administration. He's the leader of the country, and he is allowing these things to happen, right? A lot of dictators like to be all like, "Oh, well, I'm not doing it. That's not me doing it." But that I'm not going to stop it. Dictator. Okay. So, this is my response. Wouldn't you say being in the top 1% makes you incredibly wealthy? Let's look at that just a little bit. One, yes, being in the top 1% makes you wealthy, right? I said incredibly wealthy. Maybe that's where he's getting his knickers in a twist. Incredibly wealthy. Maybe it's just wealthy. But Biden, let's look at the tax records that you want to talk about, right? Let's just look at his net wealth. His net wealth back in this article from Forbes magazine said that his net wealth back in 2023, let's say August 17th, 2023, his is estimated to be $10 million. That's Biden's net worth net worth, sorry, not net wealth. His net worth back in August of 2023. All right. So we're looking at what, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So we're looking at over half a year. So it's probably even up since then. Don't know for sure, but I'm guessing. But let's just say, right around 10 million. Let's look at what it takes to be in the top 1%. Not even like the top 5%, right? The top 1% of people, you have to have a net worth of $13 million in 2023. So if you had a net worth of $13 million in 2023, you were in the top 1%. He only had about 10 million, so not quite into the 1% there. He may have crossed that line since then. Maybe not, probably not. But he's very close to being in the top 1%, right? So that easily makes him in the top 5%. That's not wealthy. That's not incredibly wealthy. Having $10 million as your estimated worth, a lot of that's in real estate, sure. But that doesn't mean he's not incredibly wealthy just because it's in real estate. But it's not all in real estate, right? He's able to supposedly give out huge loans to family members that they pay him back. Yeah, that totally happened. Loans paid back, lots of money, got it. Not wealthy. Yeah, okay. I'm going to say that my definition of incredibly wealthy, he definitely meets that. I don't know what your definition of incredibly wealthy is, but my definition, and I use the wording, would be in the top 1 to 5%, would be incredibly wealthy. That's Biden. Sorry, those them the facts. All right, let's take a look here. What else did you say? All right, Biden is almost there if he wasn't already crossed. Wait, oh yeah, that's me. This is my comment. Biden is almost there if he hasn't already crossed the threshold. Yes, that is easy information to look up, so maybe take a little bit of time to do so. Biden is allowing his political opponents, media, and even just individuals such as protesters that disagree with him to be thrown into jail, while allowing protesters to illegally protest in front of homes of the Supreme Court justices. And just to kind of add to that, the Supreme Court justices whose decisions he disagreed with. We are going to go into the Supreme Court justices' decision today in a separate video. But we're going to go into it, definitely, because it's going to be very interesting to see how Biden handles it. All right. Anyways, but he allowed, because it's illegal to protest in front of the Supreme Court justice's house. It's intimidation of a judge, all right? You can protest anywhere else, and you can protest against the Supreme Court justices, and you can protest against their decisions. But when you try to protest in front of their house, that's legally classified as intimidation, and it is illegal. There is a law against it. So yeah, he allowed it to happen. His lackey Merrick Garland didn't do anything about it because Biden told him not to. So yeah, there you go. Um, also, um, what was I gonna say? I guess I have. I guess I'm cognitively diminished because I kind of lost my train of thought there for a little bit. I might have dementia. All right. So let's see here. He's allowing those protests to happen. Oh, yeah. And that resulted in someone attempting to assassinate one of the Supreme Court justices, which Biden seemed to be completely cool with. Don't think he even denounced it. Seems to be kind of like the Democrat thing to do, to have their supporters, get their supporters riled up and to have them attempt to assassinate politicians and Supreme Court justices they disagree with. Can you point to an example of Trump supporters trying to assassinate? You can disagree with what happened on January 6th, but no one was trying to assassinate anybody. And if you point to the stupid gallows, they were toy. It was like, you couldn't hang anybody from them. They were fake. It was like a sign. It was like a protest sign. It was stupid. It shouldn't have been there. But no one was actually trying to kill anybody. They didn't have any weapons. There was not a coup. It's so stupid. All right. So, anyways, let's look at this. He is allowing for more censorship of people that disagree with him. This isn't a bare minimum. This is dictator-like actions. He is 100% trying to get reelected. He is allowing unconstitutional means, such as trying to pull Trump off the ballot, which has been confirmed today was unconstitutional. And Biden allowed it. Kind of didn't even want to talk about it too much, was just kind of like, well, we'll see what happens. The guy's going to beat me, but hopefully I don't have to run against him. Come on now. All right. So definitely dictator-like actions. All right. So let's go up to the other comment. You just resorted to, I think the problem here is your sources of information. That's the window through which you see the world. What source of information? Where do I get my information from? What is wrong with the sources of information? And what does the source of the information have to do with if the information is correct? Because if all you can do is attack the source, which you don't even know what the source is, and you don't even know you haven't said anything that's wrong with any of the sources that you think that I have, just the sources. That's pretty lazy. Come on, you got to admit that. You were just tired. You did a one-sentence response that was just a lazy, quick, dismissal. I don't want to have to support my opinions. I don't want to have to attack your opinions. I'm just going to say source, bro. All right. So let's take a look at this. What did I say? Well, you obviously aren't paying attention, and your problem is obviously your sources of information. Wow, that was way easier than taking the time to explain why I disagree with your opinions. Good times. Yeah, I get a little snarky when people do stuff like that, and I'm getting a little snarky in this video, but that's okay. We're having a good time. All right, so yeah, no, I don't make it a habit to go in and just be all like, oh, well, your source is terrible, so I'm not going to even acknowledge your opinion. I'm not going to try to support my opinion. I'm not going to show why I disagree with your opinion. I'm just going to say source, bro. I don't do that. So there's that. Honestly, though, you have no idea what my sources are, other than mentioning Glenn Beck has a similar list, which I did in the video, which doesn't make him my source. He wasn't my source, by the way. Oh, yeah. My actual source is my own observations of each of their actions, making it obvious that Biden is the one who is really acting more like a dictator, right? So, yeah, yeah. I don't need someone to tell me what my eyes can see. And my eyes can see that Biden is the one who's acting more like a dictator um, than Trump. I have a, I am paying attention. I have a strong knowledge of the things that have happened in the past. I've demonstrated that through my videos. I've demonstrated that in the comments. I am paying attention, and you're just getting to the point where you just feel like a lazy response. So I anticipate there won't be a response to this video, but if there is, we'll see where it goes. Right? But to try to just be all like source bro, your sources are where you are the problem. I don't have a source. Um, and yeah, so I just had this idea. I'm like, there's all of these instances where Biden has acted like a dictator. There's no instances where Trump acted like a dictator. So if we're looking at who is more dictator like, it's definitely Biden. Did Glenn Beck do something similar? He did. That's why I mentioned it. Do I consider Glenn Beck a source? Kind of sometimes. He's okay. He's been around a long time. He supports his positions with factual evidence, and so sometimes he can be a source. Was he my source on this? No, he wasn't. We just had the similar idea, and so I wanted to reference it. But, more than likely, without saying it, which is I commend you for the restraint. More than likely, you're one of those Fox News boogeyman types, right? Where you think that, oh well, you're watching Fox News and that's why you think the way you think. I don't have cable TV. I don't watch Fox News. I don't I don't even read the Fox News website. I mean, come on, it's kind of garbage to begin with. So I really don't know what Fox News's positions are on these things. That's not where I get my information from. That's not what I'm doing. So for you to, if that's what you were implying, which you didn't say that, so maybe it wasn't. No, I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch Glenn Beck that often. Sometimes I'll see a YouTube video from him every now and then. Let's see. Who else could you be talking about? Let me know. Who are these sources? And why do you think that they are tainting my worldview? All right. I think that's enough of a response to you. We've been discussing this issue for, let's see, how long is this video? Let's see. We are at 48 minutes. Jeez, that's ridiculous. There was a little bit of me talking before it, but yeah, most of this was just responding to these comments. Good times. Oh, there was one more comment though, from someone else, and their comment. This is from the Pepperlanders. Their comment was, Biden's handlers are definitely Orwellian. Trump talked big but governed as a Republican moderate. Thumbs up that one and said, absolutely, far from a dictator and more like a moderate Republican. He was able to get the modest tax reform, although he could have gotten more done on that front. And he not only didn't cut spending. That could have been worded a little better. Spending increased substantially on his watch. Hopefully he does more with another 4 years. And so, actually, yeah, to wrap up the video, well, thank you for your comment as well. I appreciate that. I think we agree. I think Biden's handlers are pretty Orwellian, and Trump really wasn't even like that extreme. Like people try to like make him out to be some sort of extremist, and his followers or his supporters or whatever you want to call them, the magats, whatever, they're hardly extreme. Well, Trump definitely is hardly extreme. Some of his supporters, I would agree, are a bit extreme, and just the fact that they're more they more than anything they support Trump rather than the actual positions. So if Trump does something, they support it regardless of whether they held that position beforehand. So I do see that happening a lot. It's part of, I mean, not why I don't support Trump. I don't support Trump based on his opinions and positions sometimes, and I definitely don't support Trump on the way that he acts. And that's not as a dictator, because Biden's the one who acts like a dictator. Trump just acts like an idiot. He can't stop talking and he says dumb things. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, I would say he governed as a moderate Republican, slightly more conservative than some of your rhinos, right? Because a lot of your rhinos are more like Democrats than Republicans, but Republicans aren't really that far away from it. It's like both parties are like right here, like we got the let's see, what's the left, you guys. This is my left hand, this is my right hand, so I'll just go with that, even though it's kind of reversed for how you guys are watching it, huh? So the left, yeah, that looks weird. Anyways, the left is more over here to the left. The Republicans are more over here, where a lot of them are kind of more leaning towards the left side of things. And then you have some like moderate Republicans, and then you have like more libertarian style Republicans, none of which are extreme, by the way. But yeah, Trump could have done a lot more in his 4 years, and then COVID obviously threw things for a loop, especially on the spending front. Hopefully, in his next 4 years, he does a lot more to reduce the spending. We'll see. I don't have a lot of hope for that, but I do hope. And then hopefully more tax reforms and returning the world to more of a peaceful state. It's not extreme to want these things, to want peace, to want less taxes, to want less spending. That's not extreme. It's not. So he is more like a moderate Republican. I would definitely have done a lot more. And really would like to see a lot more done as a conservative libertarian. I'm not even like like, I wouldn't even, you can't really call libertarians extreme. They're so tame. But like, I'm not like full bore into everything that libertarians believe in. I mostly hold libertarian viewpoints though, so that's why I consider myself a libertarian. Um, so yeah, he's not even that. He's just kind of like a Republican, slightly more conservative than some of the rhinos, more like a moderate Republican, right? All right, I've talked this to death, and yeah, I still believe it. So if you have any more comments, feel free to leave them, and we'll move forward, or we'll go on to a new topic. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good day.